going to talk about cooking and life. We've got Father David Rossin with us today, and thanks for joining us, Father.
Thank you, Holly. It's great to be here today.
All right. Once again, you've been reading the Wall Street Journal. There's an interesting article about how you can substitute ingredients. You've got those recipes. You don't have to stick to it right away.
Absolutely, absolutely. The food editor, B. Wilson, at the Wall Street Journal had an interesting article last Saturday about substituting foods, substituting items for recipes that you may not have. And I found it interesting for this reason, a couple reasons. First of all, a number of couples who come to me in preparation for marriage, I discovered, don't know how to cook at all. So I asked them, once the romance is sort of gone, what is it that's going to keep you together? Well, for a lot of fellas, that's a good meal when they come on home, or for a lot of ladies for that matter too. But my experience teaches me that a lot of them don't want to cook because it's scary to cook. And I've observed today that it's so easy today, far easier today to do some cooking, especially with the varieties of variable foods that we have out there, jarred foods or things like that, that it's so much easier to do that today. Everything doesn't need to be fresh. When you look at a recipe, I got a lot of recipe books, and they call for all these esoteric items that you don't find here at Lima when you go to the supermarket. So there's a lot of things that you can substitute, for example. So interestingly enough, one day I went to my Italian teacher. This was years ago. Today she's 105 years old. She comes from Naples, Italy, and she used to always prepare a wonderful meal for me when I would sit down and we would talk in Italian or something like that. And one day she always had this wonderful pasta that she made with some spaghetti, or she would use penne or something like that, things you can get at the market. And I commented on this wonderful sauce, this marinara sauce that she had made. And I thought, gee, I wish I could replicate this. And she didn't say anything. She just sat there, and we enjoyed a bottle of wine together, and not the whole bottle. We enjoyed a bottle of wine together and some pasta, and she made some sausages. And I commented the second time, I said, Ida, this is a wonderful sauce. How long did it take you to make it? She got a big smile on her face. She went over to her cupboard, and she pulled out a jar of Prego. And I looked at that and I thought, how did you do this and fool me? She says she doctored it up. My mother used to use that phrase. I doctored it up. So I do the same thing today when it comes to cooking food. So for example, if a recipe says, well, you have to use red onion. No, you don't. You can use any kind of onion for that matter. I mean, it's a sweet onion. You want to use a sweet onion, for example. So do some experimentation when it comes to using foods. So the other day I'm out at the store, and I was going to make they needed some cantaloupe. It's in great season right now for cantaloupe, but the store ran out of it. Now they had a nice honeydew melon there. So I picked that up, and actually it was a lot better than the cantaloupe when you paired it with some piece of ham or something like that. Or for example, you're going to hear these recipes that are calling for saffron. Most people don't know this, but in your cupboard, especially if you have something in your medicine cabinet, people will take turmeric, and it's used for arthritis. And people can substitute turmeric for saffron because saffron really adds a color for the most part, and turmeric can add the same color. So there's a variety of things that you can do with a recipe. But I just encourage people to experiment and not be bound to some recipe that you're going to find either when it comes to reading a newspaper or a book or something like that. I don't know what your experience has been, Holly.
Yeah, like you said, I always talk about doctoring it up too. You can't take baked beans out of the can. You got to doctor them up a little bit. But yeah, I like to throw things together too. And so be adventuresome. Whatever you have, throw it together and make something.
There's so many varieties today of things that people don't even think about using these various varieties of things. So for example, I'll take, if it calls for some Italian sausage, for example. Sometimes they'll say you need some bulk Italian sausage. Well, you just go to the store. If they don't have bulk Italian sausage, get
what they got.
Cut them open and throw it in there,
Yeah, exactly. Just have fun cooking, right?
Pardon me?
Just have fun cooking. That's what we need to do.
Be fun.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, thanks for joining us today, Father.
Thanks, Holly. Enjoy the day.
You too. All right, Noon Edition will continue in a moment.